Hi, I'm Troy from Studio 33 Guitar. Thanks for watching. Today we're going to look at a song called Sugar by Maroon 5. Great song, a lot of fun to play, and it only has 4 chords throughout the entire song. So it's fairly simple, but I'm going to show you a number of different ways to play it. So you can do it with a capo, without a capo, bar chords, without bar chords. I'll show you a bunch of variations, so regardless of your skill level, you'll be able to play this song. As I mentioned, this song only has 4 chords and they're repeated throughout the entire song. So the verse and the chorus are played exactly the same way all the way through. The song's in the key of F sharp, which means that it involves either using a capo or using bar chords. So I'm going to show you both of those methods as well as another way to play it that will be a little bit easier for more of a beginner level. The 4 chords that we're going to use are F sharp major, A sharp minor, D sharp minor, and C sharp major. We're going to start with the simplest way to play this. We'll break it down, simplify the rhythm, simplify the chords, and then I'll show you a couple of more ways that you can do that'll be a little bit more complicated. If you're a little bit more advanced and you're ready for the challenge, I'll put the time markers at the bottom of the video in the description so you can just skip ahead to the harder versions. The first way that we'll look at to play this song will be using strictly power chords. Now, if you're not familiar with how a power chord is played, let's quickly go over that. A power chord is simply a 2-note chord that uses the root note of the chord and then a note that's a fifth above it. Now, if that theory is confusing to you, don't worry about that too much. There's a simple shape that you play that you move around the neck that stays the same. The first chord we're going to play is an F sharp. So we need to find an F sharp note to make that chord. So the F sharp is located on the low E string, the 2nd fret. So you can put your index finger on that note. To make a power chord, we need a note that's a fifth above it, and all that means is it's down on the next string and then 2 frets up the neck. So we're going to need to put our finger on that note right there. Now you can either use your pinky finger, which is what I usually use, or you can use your ring finger, which causes a little bit more of a stretch. Either way, whichever way is more comfortable for you. When we play that power chord, we only play those 2 notes. So we're only playing those top 2 strings. Now you can use your hand to gently rest against the other strings to mute them and keep them from ringing. So then if you do play those other strings, they don't actually sound out. So that would be more like this. So those higher strings, you're just getting that sound. So from that F sharp chord, next we move up to an A sharp chord. And we're going to keep that same shape with our hand, that same power chord shape, and we're just going to move that up to the 6th fret. So that's going to be in between these 2 dots. So at the 6th fret, then our pinky ends up being on the 8th fret of the next string down. And that gives us an A sharp power chord. Then the next chord of the song is directly below that. So we just move both fingers down to the next 2 strings and we have a D sharp power chord. And then from there we're going to move that shape down 2 frets. So we're going to go 1, 2, that's going to be a C sharp power chord. And that gives us the 4 chords that we need for the song. So that would be F sharp, A sharp, D sharp, C sharp. Now that we know those 4 chords, we need to work on the rhythm. And the rhythm of this song is what really makes it catchy. It's a little bit complicated, but we're going to break it down and make it really simple, and then we'll build up to make it more like the original song. Each of those chords lasts for 1 bar of music, so that means that you have to count to 4 for each of those chords. So that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. What will really help you to get the rhythm down is to count 8th notes. So that would be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. And if we use downstrokes on the numbers and upstrokes on the ands, then we would have this kind of a sound. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... What really gives this rhythm its interesting sound is the space between the chords where you're not actually playing. So now we're going to play that same rhythm, same count, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, but we're only going to actually strum the chord on the 1 and 2 and portion. On the rest of the count, we're going to just hold the strings and mute them so we have this sound. Okay, so you're going to play the chord 1 and 2 and then you're going to just lightly lift up on your fingers. So you don't want to take your hand off the chord. You just want to lightly lift up so the notes aren't being pushed down anymore. And then you can continue to strum to get that sound. So this would sound like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Now you can leave those extra strums in there if you want to, just to create a little bit more rhythm and to help you keep time. And if you're playing by yourself, that can actually sound pretty good. If you're playing with somebody else or playing in a band, you probably wouldn't need to do that because your drummer or other instruments would be filling in that space. If you wanted to completely cut out the noise in between the chords, you can keep your arm moving, just don't hit the strings. So that would be like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Now let's look at how we would play this song with bar chords. The bar chords are going to be played in the exact same positions that we were just playing in, but instead of playing power chords, we're going to play the full bar chord. Now, if you're not familiar with how to play a bar chord, you can check out one of my other videos on my other channel, Studio 33 Guitar. That channel is more for technique and theory, and I have a lesson there on bar chords, how to play them, how they're made, and how to get the best sound out of them. The first chord, of course, is going to be F sharp again, but instead of playing it as a power chord, now we'll play the full F sharp major bar chord, which would be like this. When we move that up to the A sharp, we make it into an A sharp minor chord, which means we just take a middle finger off and make it a minor. The next chord is directly below that, and we're making a D sharp minor. So now our middle finger goes back down again. And we have this. And then we're going to move that down to the C sharp. And now for this one, we can do it like a power chord, but now we're actually going to use that pinky finger to bar across those 3 strings. So we have the C sharp major bar chord this way. So those 4 chords as bar chords with that same rhythm would sound like this. Now that time I added in some right hand muting, which is sometimes called the chop, where I'm playing the chord the same way as I was earlier, 1 and 2 and then I'm taking my hand and hitting on the strings to stop them all from ringing. And it creates a little bit of that percussive sound as well. So that again would be like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Now let's look at how we would play this using a capo. So you put your capo on the 1st fret, and the chord shapes that we're going to be using are going to be the same as some of the open chords that you probably already know. And those would be an F major, A minor, D minor, and C. Now we're going to call them by those names because those are the shapes that we're going to be playing. But technically, because our capo is on here now, the sound that those chords are making are actually the same as we were playing before: F sharp, A sharp, D sharp, and C sharp. The first chord shape that we're going to be playing is an F chord. Now there's different ways to play the F chord, but the way that we're going to do it here looks very similar to a C major chord, which you probably are familiar with. C major looks like that. And then to make that into an F chord, you're just going to take your pinky finger and put it directly below the ring finger, and then move the middle finger down one string. And that'll give you an F chord. Now you can either have this high E string ring open, which would actually give you an F major 7 chord, or you can use the side of your index finger just to lightly touch against that string to keep it from ringing. Either way would be acceptable. So with it ringing would sound like this. With it being muted by the index finger, it'd sound like this. Either one of those will sound fine in this song. After that F chord, we're going to move to an A minor chord, which is like this. Now, if any of these chords, if you don't know them, again, go check out my other channel. There's some videos there on how to make these chords. So for the A minor chord, the index finger gets to stay in the same spot as it was for the F chord. It's just the other fingers that have to move. From A minor, we're going to a D minor. So D minor looks like that. Now, D minor chord is the same as a D major. You probably are familiar with that, except this one note just needs to move down one fret. So we do that with our index finger and then put our middle finger up where the index finger was. From the D minor chord, then we move to a C major chord, which we looked at the beginning. So those 4 chords together, again, would be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now to get that rhythm again, we want to just play 1 and 2 and then leave that space. So that would sound like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So again, you can add in that chop. And what really works well is once you do that chop and you're muting the strings, then you can start moving your hand. So that gives you some extra time to get ready for that next chord. And that's the entire song. The only other section of the song that's a little bit different is a little bit of a bridge section where they play those same chords again, but they just hold each one. So you just have 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And that would be it. That would be the entire song. Well, I hope you liked that lesson, and I hope that you're able to learn from it. If you did like it, please click the like button, leave a comment below, share the video, subscribe to the channel. Also check out our other channel, Studio 33 Guitar, for more about music theory, technique, and tips. You can also check our website, studio33guitar.com. We've got more lessons on there and a forum where you can chat with other guitar players as well. So thanks for watching.